Hello, Achena here, and as you know, if you want to subscribe or like, you can just do that. And of course, in the description, you will have lots of things like the logs that I'm going to talk about in this video, and also the Rogue Discord and other things like my Twitch channel, of course. Now, let's talk about this. I wanted to do this video fast before there were more changes. If someone was interested in doing testing and things like that, right now, this is most likely the highest performing build. Of course, we still have to test more things. There is also another build that does not take as many cooldowns, does not take Gormal, Rotten, or Sepsis, and opts to do 2 points in Finality and 1 in Shadowcraft. Of course, from our tests and things like that, Shadowcraft is kind of weak because with Shadow Blades, it has some anti-synergy, and of course, you lose combo points quite a bit. Of course, that's why this is kind of the one that we want to use. We are going to use, of course, Sepsis and going to empower it with Perforated Veins and Rotten as much as possible. In the upper, we can't do it with Perforated Veins, but we can with Rotten. Of course, Gormal the same. We are going to try and get that done. One thing at the beginning of the video that I want to talk about is this may be a short-lived video because, as you know, if you have been in the Rogue Discord, maybe Shuriken Tornado is going to get changed, rebalanced, whatever it is. It's not going to work on single target anymore. Of course, this does not mean that we are not going to use this. Meanwhile, there is also builds without dust and AoE builds, kind of, but I think those are weaker right now. At least they are performing worse in the test that we have done. And of course, this is meanwhile empirical data until we get the simulation craft going and the APLs. That is going to be a huge brain buster for everything. I kind of have some ideas to get the things to not waste PV and other things like that, but less about that and something that people are more interested in. Numbers. We get some big burst. Good. We can get up to 400k without potion, only with the trinket, and it's a lower level trinket because 460 it's like normal or maybe upgraded looking for rate. With Ashes of the Ember Soul, we are also using pips. I think it's a really good trinket, the Pips Emerald Friendship Badge. It procs, for some reason, for me, a lot of versatility. Maybe it's weighted, and if it procs your highest stat, we don't know. We still have to do lots of tests. You can also get Mastery and Crit, and it's buff that begins high, that's 3000, and then begins decaying every second. This one also decays agility every 3 seconds. That's why you want to use this as you're using your strongest cooldowns. Those are Gormal, Sectec, and the pop from Sepsis. I will talk that about a little bit. Only seeing the details may not be a huge way to say. This will not be in the log that I will show you now, but this was one I just did before this video to get a short clip of 1 minute, because I had lots of log but no clips because I was doing logs for like 5 hours trying different builds and things. So as you can see, we can get a crit for 236k just the pop from Sepsis. Of course, you have to add the 20% to blades also. That's really good. And the dot that it also does a reputable amount of damage. Everything, remember, this is without potion and one cast without the trinket. The big cast and everything is at 3 minutes and something when we get blades, Sepsis, flagellation, and everything back with the trinket, with perforated veins, with rotten. It's going to truck. I've been able to get 300k with my current gear. I am a Mystic Raider, but I haven't killed all the cool bosses lots of times, so I don't have all 450 gear, but still we got the new dagger and versatility here and there. It trucks. So I'm going to show you one lock fast before I show the video. Now let's go over here. And as you can see here, this is one of the examples. I'm going to link these cumulus of locks. Most of these were with shadowcraft, and I was not getting cool peaks, like you can see here, 200k and 200ks. This was 300ks with good RNG, likely with Rotten. Now this was with Rotten. We begin getting to the 300ks with Rotten, and then 300ks again here. And this was when I was not using the cooldowns properly. Now with good cooldown usage, using Rotten well before sepsis and everything, we get to 400k really easily. The last one here, you can also see it in this case, 400k. These are short ones, of course, because I'm still doing lots of checks, but at least the opener and more or less how you want to use cooldowns, we have it for people to try, at least. Now, if you want to see the damage breakdown here, I'm going to take the camera off so people can see it better. And now you can see Gormau does a Ripu, does some damage, kind of decent. Sepsis does a lot of damage and also crits for quite a bit. You can see on the pop, we got 100k normal hits. That's 200 and something. It was a crit. Same here, almost everything to say with sepsis. Here we had a 193k pop and then 70k normal one. Everything here, of course, with a grain of salt. There will be lots of changes and other things. Also, Secret Technique is likely going to be buffed. We will talk that a bit more when you have more data. Some changes that are most likely going to come are tornado changes and Secret Technique getting buffed. And you can see here this is doing a decent amount of damage, but got some nerfs. Shadow Strike also a cool thing. It's doing a lot more damage than before. You can see here 100k crits almost. Really good. And now I'm going to show you a little clip. This is, of course, remember, not gospel or anything. It's just so you can see more or less how to use things if you want to do some testing and kind of how it performs. Of course, the damage done is not going to be that good. You see lots of people on PTR already. Let me show you 1 second before I put the video. You see lots of people already with 400 and 833 crafted gear on everywhere and upgrading the Ember Soul things and everything. But I'm not going to bother, of course, you know. It's not going to be a huge amount of DPS. Still getting 100 and something K in the dummy. It's decent. Other people will get more because they have more gear. Also, my gear is not that good now on this new patch. We are going to use most likely Mastery and Critical Strike more than the Versatility heavy build that I have right now. So let's go into the video. So as you know, I always do this. I get the little timer thingy, have my gaming face on. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's kind of funny looking into the nether. And now let's see the opener kinda. I'm still going to say when I make mistakes. And also this is likely, I don't know why I have so many shadow tech, but it doesn't matter on the opener. Now, this is kind of something that I saw. It's not 100%, but I Shadow Strike, Slice and Dice, and Shadow Strike. Why? Because as you can see here, my second Shadow Strike almost caps CPs. And now, because we are using Rotten, you see, now I just use Symbols of Death. And we are going to use Sepsis. This is going to make our Sepsis 50% stronger. Now you can see here, it's counting down. And of course, when you have sepsis, you will Flagellation because you are full on combo points, then use Eviscerate. Oh no, Rupture because we didn't have Rupture yet on the target. And now this Shadow Strike. I'm still thinking if I want to use Shadow Blades here to cap combo points. I'm not sure, but it's likely going to be worth. Of course, you enter Dance, and when you enter Dance, you want to use Shadow Blades at least on that Eviscerate on the builder that you're going to use now. That's why I'm saying that I make some mistakes, but just ignore them. We cap combo points. We use Secret Technique, and here I use T and my Shadows of the Ember Souls if I do it well. Yes. Okay, I use it too late. You want to use it before the 2 copies from Secret Technique hit. And then Sepsis is going to expire, and we are also going to use Eviscerate and Gormau. And as you can see here, we are still on the first 3 seconds of the Ember Soul. So that means we are on the peak of the agility that this trinket can give. Now, of course, we use finishers and then Shadow Strike finishers. This is where things would change a little bit when they nerf Tornado. In this case, we would use a stab finish twice. Why? Because we want to get Secret Technique inside our second dance. Okay, those 4. I waited there to use a finisher because Secret Technique now with our 4-piece gives our 4 combo points, and maybe we also get the other copy and then we can get 6 combo points. And it's not worth to strike there if we can just finish. Even if it's a 4-point finisher, it's better than a Shadow Strike. And now here it's kind of where it gets weird. We just get our Symbols of Death back. And I Shadow Strike to get my cooldowns back. This is because we are going to get Gormau and Tornado before we do our next Sepsis Flagellation. Now here I messed up. You don't want to Symbols of Death that early. You want to do at least 1 backstab to get 4 combo points. Then you dance, backstab, Symbols of Death, Eviscerate, and then Gormau. I messed up. It is where it is. It's kind of hard to play the build, to be honest. Now this animation, you don't see it that much, right? It's kind of cool, right? This bite. And now, of course, we're going to do our dance thingies. Of course, lag in the PTR is really heavy. And now here we are in waiting mode. We want to get our 5 perforated veins stacks. And also use our Symbols of Death. So what we are going to do is we are going to backstab to 5. And here, this is something that some people will struggle with, but you don't really need to be alarmed. You would just, in this case, you get 5 stacks and then you get your cooldown back. We still don't have Symbols of Death, so we're not going to use Sepsis yet. But at least we are going to finish, in this case with a Rupture, and then we will wait. As you can see here, now we got some combo points, and also we have Shadow Techniques. This is going to make now, when we use our Symbols of Death and Sepsis, plop, see, now we get 6 combo points. And then it's the same thing. So this is going to be a little bit different. I messed up a lot here, so just forget everything that I did. What you have to do is, when you use that Symbols of Death, Let me show you a little bit. Yeah, here. And now here, you want to get all of these cooldowns, and we still don't have like 100% of where we are going to do here to get the most damage. So you kind of know that you want to use your cooldowns there. And it's the same thing from before. And that will be more or less how it's going. We are still doing lots of theory crafts and things to know which is best. The opener is kind of going to change too, but it's more or less how people want to see the build, how it's going. And of course, it's going to be more changes, but we want to at least know more or less how it's going to end up. At least these days, like 3 or 4 days, you know how the PTR goes, changes here and there. So I will see you in the next video.